with that being said, it'll also induce a little bit of spray within the vehicle, so I want to make sure to keep you guys dry in there. For this exercise, I know a couple of you asked me about it. You can use manual mode, but you're going to have to upshift up the second gear for each run, or you can just leave it in drive. It is completely up to you. Now, I'm going to lead you guys through the exercise one time, nose to tail, so we're going to roll through together as a group, and I will point out all of the key references. So we are currently sitting in our staging area. The way the exercise runs, it is one vehicle at a time. I will call you up by name to begin each of your runs. So let's get rolling here together. So from that first two tall orange cones, that is going to be your starting line essentially. You'll accelerate smoothly. I will tell you guys every single run how fast I want you to go. Smooth acceleration is not a drag race, and like I said, a part of the exercise is wet, so your tires will be wet, so it's very easy to get some wheel spin off the line. Once we get up to that target speed, this is a good time if you have not done so already to get that heads-up display set. Maintain the speed, be very precise with it. Further down, we're going to pass through two tall orange cones to say brake on them. As you can guess, that means apply the brakes at that point. I will tell you how I want you to use the brakes every single run. For the first beginning run, we're just going to come to a nice easy stop, and then we're going to practice the ABS system, how to utilize that correctly, and ultimately that's going to lead us into accident avoidance. Every single run, you're going to come to a complete stop within those lanes of cones. To begin with, we're only going to utilize the center lane, taking up the exercise is 3 lanes wide. Afterwards, we will be changing things up and having you guys make a lane change, simulating an accident avoidance maneuver. Once I tell you to clear the exercise and you've come to a complete stop, you're just going to make a U-turn and then head back towards the staging area just like we are doing currently. This is the perfect opportunity for you folks to be able to test the limits of the braking system of the car. I'm sure most of us, when we took delivery of these things, our first instinct wasn't to go out on the street and slam on the brakes and see how quickly we can stop it. But with that being said, I want you guys to know how the vehicle responds to that type of input. If you do find yourself in that type of situation on the road, being well equipped to make the proper adjustment to prevent you from wrecking your vehicle or getting hit from another vehicle, that type of thing. So I'm going to clear the exercise. If you would, Bob, just stay right there. I'm going to park off to the side and then we'll hop out of my vehicle and I will coach you from foot. Alright, so on this first set of runs here, what I ask you guys to do is get up to 35 miles per hour. This is more or less just a practice. So 35 mile per hour approach speed, be accurate with it. Like I mentioned, you can utilize the heads-up display to make sure that we keep that speed very precise. Once we get up to the braking zone, this is the second thing I want to focus on, is getting to the brakes at the proper time. I see it happen all the time. Drivers will brake too early, brake too late. We want to be precise. Right when the nose of the car gets to these points, I want you guys just to apply the brake pressure. We don't need to try to come to a stop as quickly as you possibly can. Just feel it out. Feel out the brake pressure, get a good gauge of the whole exercise, and then we'll change things up for the second run. So Bob, you can start your run. 35. If you're utilizing manual mode, just make sure you upshift to second gear. Maintain that speed right up to the cones here, then a full complete stop. There you go. 100% and perfect. Easy as that. Thank you, sir. Just make that tight U-turn and head back to that staging area. Alright, Tom, you were clear as well. There you go, all the way to a complete stop there, Tom. Good job. The only gripe I have is your hand position. Try to get those thumbs right on top of that spoke of the wheel. Other than that, everything was cherry. And Tom S., you can start your run. Yeah, it just happened to be Tom. You're the first one, so Tom, turn it a little sharper to the right. There you go. Don't want to go over there to the other exercise. Yeah, no worries there, Tom P. And sorry about that, I probably got a little confused in there, Tom S. Yep, you're all good. Yeah, it's going to be a hard habit to break for some of us, maintaining that 9-3 position, but once we can get accustomed to that, it's going to give you a lot higher level of control of the vehicle. And Steve, you can start your run. 35 miles per hour, eyes up for the approach, getting the timing for the braking applied. All the way to a complete stop. There you go, good job. Notice you felt a little bit of feedback from that brake pedal right at the very end of that stop. You had a slight amount of ABS I could hear. So if you're wondering what that was, that is it. Scott, you were all clear for your run. There you go. All the way to a complete stop. And excellent, good job. Alright, so for that first run, everyone did what they needed to. Got the basics down. The approach speed, we looked like we were all within that 2 or 3 mile per hour window of that 35. Everyone was hitting their brakes approximately at the right time, coming to a complete stop. Those are the basics. A lot of people screw that up, and you guys nailed it. So we're just going to add on to that a little bit for this next run. For the consecutive runs, I'm going to ask you folks to increase that brake pressure drastically. Put yourself in an emergency type situation where you're at a point where when you encounter these braking zones, or this braking zone, excuse me, you were trying to stop that car as quickly as you possibly can. Do whatever you think it takes to go from 35 to 0 in the shortest distance possible. Don't be shy with these cars. These are not your babies at home. These are tools. Anything that you've never been able to experience in your vehicle at home, this is the time to do it now. So with that, Bob, you're all clear. Same approach speed, just more aggression on that brake pedal. Really try to push your foot through that floorboard. There you go. 100%, down, harder, harder, harder. There you go, good job. So just take a note and try to reference where you stop your vehicle this lap, and then the next run we will try to see if we can shorten that stopping distance. So for you there, Bob, your back of the vehicle is right at that last row of cones. And Tom P, you can start your run. There you go, all the way to a stop, 100%. Good job. So nose of the car right before that second row of cones. And Tom S, you were clear as well. Keep it applied, more. There you go, right at that second row as well. Steve, you were clear to begin your run. Good, keep it applied, stay on it. Alright, so right at that line, right between that second and third row. And Scott, you can begin your run. There you go, stay on it. Alright, good job. So on the second run, we did what I asked you guys to. Everyone did increase their brake pressure. Every single one of you had a small amount of ABS towards the latter half of your run. I could see those wheels intermittently locking, sort of ratcheting, if you will. I'm sure that you felt it on that brake pedal. However, I know that every single one of you can stop the car quicker. It didn't seem like anyone was going too fast, but I know from experience, we've been doing this for quite a while, at 35, we should be able to stop the car right at this first row of cones. Now, I don't want you to cheat. I don't want you on this next run just to start slowing down earlier, because that's the easy way out. I still want you to get your braking applied right at those cones, but what I ask of you to do, and this goes against pretty much everything we've been taught our entire driving career is going to that 100% brake pressure as hard as we possibly can right from the beginning. Right when you get to that braking zone, I want you to shock that brake system. I want you to slam your foot to the floor. I want you to try to activate that ABS and keep that computer system activated all the way till that car is completely stationary. At 35, and if we hit the brakes at the right point, we should be able to get the car to stop with the nose of it right about the door of it, right at this first row of cones. So try to do that. Like I said, this is your chance to practice these techniques and not have to beat up on your own vehicle at home. Now granted, they are designed for this type of input, but most of us never plan on doing that. Alright, so Bob, you can start your run, 35 miles per hour. I want you to, the reason I'm standing down here, I want to see you visibly lift up in the seat and slamming your foot on the brake. Harder, 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 harder. That was better. Looks like our speed might have been just a little bit high, and I still think we could get to that brake pressure a little bit quicker. But you did get that ABS started much sooner than the previous run. Alright, Tom, you can start your run. Same thing, get up to that 35, keep it there, right at the cone, slam your foot to that floorboard. 100% brake. Hard, full brake, full brake. There we go, look at that. Started braking a little bit early, but if we would have broke right at the cones, it would have been perfect. So good job. Alright, Tom S., start your run. Looking for that braking zone, slam the brake. Down it, down it, down it. We can still be a little more aggressive with it right at the beginning. That second half is perfect. We're still just giving ourselves about 2 full seconds to get that 100% brake pressure applied. And Steve, we'll start your run. More. We're still easing into it. We can really push that brake pedal control a lot harder right at the beginning and keep that pressure applied. And Scott, begin your run. Full brake, 100%. More brake, more brake, more brake. There you go. Good job. Since this group is smaller, we're going to do it one more time. You know, the other groups have 6 drivers. You guys only have 5. We have the time to do this. I want you guys to practice it one more time. So in this next run, same exact thing, same approach speed, still trying to get that brake pressure applied quicker. You know, we were getting there, but we could still be more aggressive with it from the beginning. Now take note, this is not what we want you to do on the racetrack unless you absolutely have to. We should never be using full ABS on the track. That's indicative of a mistake. That means that we're trying to drive too aggressively, brake too late, that type of thing. But on the street, accident happens in front of you, a little kid runs out of the driveway, jumps off the curb right in front of your car. We want you to be equipped with the skill set of how the vehicle responds to 100% brake pressure. So Bob, same thing, 35, right at the cone, slam your foot on the ground, right to the floor on the brake. Full brake. Hard, 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 hard. More. We can still brake harder. We're still getting that little bit of ABS that I can tell, and we might not realize it, is we're starting to ease off that pressure a little when we feel that brake pedal kicking back at us. Keep it applied, trust it. Alright Tom, you can start your run. Get up to 35, let it roll in, then full brake. Hard brake. Your brake pressure is better that time. We started using off midway through, but our approach speed was just a little fast was all. Alright, Tom S., start your run. So it seems like you guys are just going a little faster. I think it's just the anticipation being fourth run. Your braking was good on that one there, Tom. I could just tell we were about probably 5 to 7 mile an hour faster, it looked like. Alright, Steve. 35, eyes up for the braking zone, directly to that 100% brake pressure. Go, stay on it. That was better. We're still taking a little bit of time to ease into it, but that was definitely an improvement. Scott, you're up. Same deal, 35, directly to 100% braking. There you go, keep it applied. Excellent job, nicely done. So for the second half of the exercise, we're going to change things up a little bit. Mr. Jason is going to do a couple demonstration runs. I'm going to do an outside of the vehicle classroom with you folks. So if you would, Bob, leave the group right where I'm standing here. I'll have you guys hop out of the car, stretch your legs a little bit. I'll talk to you about a few things, and then we'll get you back in there and try some new techniques. So line it up single file, so it's going to be Bob, Tom P, and Tom S. You can leave your vehicles running, just put them in park. And then off to their left side, it's going to be Steve and Scott. That way you guys don't have to walk so far. Like I said, leave your vehicles running, put them in park. Once you guys get them parked, just hop on out, and then we're going to gather up over here by the braking zone. Jason, if you would, avoidance to the right for us. Thank you, Jason. All right, too much input to the right for us, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Alright, Jason, your choice of speed on this one to the right. Thank you, Jason. Alright, so once you gentlemen are all buckled up, Bob, you can make that U-turn and head back to the staging area. Alright, and then Steve, you're all clear as well as Scott. So yeah, on this next run, or these next set of runs I should say, nothing has changed, same approach speed of 35 miles per hour. All I ask of you guys to do is now just keep your eyes down the exercise for Mr. Jason. He's not going to play tricks on you. He's not going to try to fake you out last minute. As long as you're looking where you need to look, he's going to give you ample time to make that proper steering input. So Bob, you can start your run. .35, even if you want to go a little under 35 first run, that's perfectly fine. Hard brakes into that left lane, stand the brakes, stand the brakes. So the reason that we felt that car just slightly rotate is we were adding our brake pressure as we were adding our steering, so the car was changing the weight distribution at the same time that we were asking it to change direction. And that's why the back end just wanted to kick out a little bit. There's nothing uncontrollable. You made a good input. You got the car corrected. Tom, you can start your run. .100% brake. Looking in. There you go. Stand the brake. Stand the brake. Excellent. Nicely done there, Tom. And Tom S., you're all clear to begin your run. There you go. Stay on it, stay on it, stay on it. There you go. So your input was good. We turned the wheel a little bit too much because we were slightly delayed. I think we were anticipating a left lane direction change, and then you added the right just a little later, which caused us to turn the wheel a little too much. But what I did notice, and you noticed as well, is that we just sort of got off the brakes. Once we felt like the car was going in the lane, we just coasted it in. So next time just stay on the brake the entire time, but otherwise you're good. Alright, Steve, you're all set? Eyes up for Jason. Yep, stay on the brake, stay on the brake. There you go, nicely done. Alright, Scott, you're all set. Hard on the brake. Good job. Alright, so everyone did what they needed to on that run. Everyone made it in the right lane. I know it sounds like a small feat, but I've seen it very often. The drivers will just, they'll see the driver in front of them go to the right, so they expect to go to the left. Well, a little tip for you guys, when you're approaching us and when Jason sees you centered up in the lane, whether you realize it or not, we can tell when you expect a direction change. What I mean by that, if you're expecting to go into that right lane, guess what you're going to do? You're going to start to stagger over to the left. So just stay on your toes, be ready for it now that we're going to have some repetition here. Try not to anticipate which way he's going to point you. Just be ready to react. Now with that being said, and I see this happen all the time, is when you guys were going on this first run, our brake pressure was lacking because we were focused more on the direction change. But now that we know how that works and how simple it is, I want us to revert back to that 100% brake pressure. And don't let that go to the wayside. I want you guys to really focus on how the vehicle responds with that braking, with steering input. On this next run, I'll give you the option, if you want to go up to 40 miles per hour, you can do so. Keep in mind, the faster we go, the smaller the lane begins to feel. So it's going to be just, you have to be more precise. That's really all it is. So Bob, whenever you're ready, up to 45, or up to 40, not 45 yet, 40 miles per hour, we'll see how this goes. Only took out one cone there. The reason that we hit that cone to begin with is we weren't able to get the car to make enough of a direction change by the time we got to the lane. And the reason being is that we didn't get the car slowing soon enough. We can still be more aggressive on that initial brake pressure, get that car slowing sooner. Basically, I want to see the splitter of that car dive right to the ground, right at those cones. Not 20 foot after, but right at those cones, going to that 100%. Get that sucker slowing, and then let the computer do its job. We don't need to worry about modulating brake pressure and try to do it for ourselves. The days of having to pump the brakes are gone in these newer cars. So Tom, you can start your run. Up to 40 miles per hour. Remember, the faster we go, the more